All right, three things I'm going to show you guys here. Number one is this empty tumbler with the sign of my bull on it. And this is not going to be empty long because next thing I got here, fresh out of the freezer, is the Terramana Reposado, which will go inside that tumbler here in a second. But the third thing I wanted to show you guys, which is something I've been excited about, and I've been posting a few things on it, is my Vanity Fair issue. So I have had the honor of being on the cover of Vanity Fair for the month of November, and it's my very first time on Vanity Fair. And I've had a very lucky and fortunate career over the years to be able to be on the cover of many magazines, from Rolling Stone to Time Magazine, you name it, I have been on it. But this one was special. Vanity Fair wanted to highlight and illuminate my entire career, my 20-plus year career that I have been a lucky son of a bitch to have over the years. So I want to thank my friends and my partners at Vanity Fair for this, for seeing this vision, wanting to, again, illuminate my career that I've worked my ass for over the years. But I really appreciate it. And I also really appreciate the context of which they wanted to illuminate it by going out and getting my good buddy, Chris Heath. That name may not mean a lot to you guys right now, but just so you know, Chris Heath is one of the best writers out there on the planet. And Chris, so you guys know a little bit of context, Chris did one of my first stories ever in my career 20 years ago for Rolling Stone magazine. And I took Chris on the road with me. We drove from town to town when I was wrestling, as my career as a professional wrestler, and he got to know me then. So Vanity Fair thought that it'd be a good idea, come full circle, to get this same writer who wrote for me 20 years ago to write now. And I did feel at that time, considering I had done a lot of pieces in the press, which you guys have read so many of magazine articles and stories, I did feel like this one was the culmination of a career, and I really wanted to just give it my all so I can deliver something to you guys that was real, that was authentic, and that was 100% raw and me. And so with that, I spent a lot of time with Chris. We spent 2 weeks together, which is an extraordinary amount of time for any piece, but we spent 2 good weeks together. And of course, the cover is by a good buddy of mine, Mark Seliger. He shot a lot of my covers before. Tremendous photographer, one of the best ever. And I've been telling all my entire team. First of all, I want to thank all you guys, by the way, for the many of you who have read this profile already. Thank you guys so much for the feedback you've given me. It has been just so incredibly gratifying and satisfying because you put a lot of time and effort into something like this. And oftentimes these magazine stories, they come and go, and there's a moment in time for them to live, and then they kind of go away. But we wanted to do something that was, hopefully, fingers crossed, meaningful, and dare say, iconic. And I think we accomplished that. And based on your reactions, your feedback, you guys, after reading the profile, and certainly the feedback that I've gotten from not only everyone I know, but people who I don't know, who are industry leaders and captains in many other industries around this world and many other businesses. So I want to thank you guys for that. And I have told my team that if anyone in the future wants to get to know me, and if there's any potential business ventures and partnerships that we're going to do, I want you to tell these people, before we sit down and before I meet with them face to face, eye to eye, and shake their hand, and we discuss any kind of business that we're going to discuss, before that happens, I want them to read Vanity Fair. I want them to read this profile on me, because this is me, and this is as real and as advertised as it gets. And I told them, if you like what you read, then in all likelihood, we're going to move forward and we'll do some really good business together. And if you don't like what you read, well, maybe I'll see you down the road. I'll just give you guys a little example of what this looks like. So there's the Passion of Dwayne Johnson. There's a great setup here that the megastar, thank you for calling me that. I just had to appropriately read that part. An entrepreneur first known as The Rock drinks his tequila and tells the truth, by Chris Heath. So, flip the page here. And of course, here the story begins. There's a great picture here by Mark Seliger. I don't often sit in a pool on water, but this is pretty much a lot of my life where I do try to make sure that I'm finding peace and balance and mindfulness. And we have talked about that so much in the past before as well. There's a lot of pulled quotes here from a lot of friends of mine, someone who I consider a good friend of mine, a mentor over the years, and certainly someone who I consider family. My Ohana is Oprah. As she says, I see so much of myself in Dwayne, not in the physicality, not in the disciplined workout, not in that, but I see this kind of hunger that he has for life and for bettering himself. Thank you so much, Oprah, for that quote. I really appreciate it, and for spending time with this writer. Thank you for saying that. I do, like a lot of us, right? A lot of us have this hunger for life and a curiosity for life, and I do. I really have a curiosity for life, and I do I do have a desire to try and better myself, because Lord knows I've had my share of fuck-ups in the past. Here's another quote. So, speaking of fucking up, this was a quote in reference to, I was in about 1.5 to 2 years into my relationship with my wife, now Lauren, who at this time was my girlfriend. And I had already been through a divorce. I had, gotten my ass kicked a few times at that time. And I was trying to figure out at that time too what kind of father I was going to be to my firstborn child, Simone. I was struggling to because I wanted to be such a good dad. And I was, I know how I grew up in the kind of complicated relationship that I had with my dad. So it was really important to me to be a good father and a role model to my daughter, Simone, at that time. And I was trying to figure my shit out. So the quote is, I did a little bit of ripping myself open. I'm working hard. I'm trying. I don't have all the fucking answers at all, and I want you to know the truth. So this is what I had told Lauren back then, and just hope that she would give me a little bit of grace and a little bit of understanding as I was trying to figure my shit out and what kind of father I was going to be and what kind of man I was going to be too, post-divorce. And a lot of you guys have gone through that, so I understand. And it was the best thing that I could have done here at that time, because I was real and honest and open and just said, I'm trying, man, but give me a shot here, because I'm really, because I love you and I want to make this thing work. And she did, and we made it work. Well, there we go. It's a good back day. It's a good angle too. Let's see. There's another quote here from my good buddy Ryan Reynolds. I think the allure of DJ is that underneath the muscles, which are all, by the way, spray-on muscles. This is true, spray-on. I found out when we were shooting he is incredibly vulnerable. Well, Ryan is giving away my secrets now because he's an asshole. But I'll tell you that, I was shooting Red Notice, and my old man, my dad, died suddenly. And we had to stop production for a day or two. And when I came back to set, he was the very first one right there on set waiting to hug me, because he had lost his dad too. So we had joined that fun club together of our dads passing away. So I'll never forget that. And I always appreciate that about my good friend Ryan. All right, let's go over here. And this is the end of the story, but this is something I wanted to share with you guys here. Speaking of my dad, this is how the whole thing ends. And I'm speaking about my dad here. We had some good times. We had some rough times. We had some fighting times. My dad always knew that there were parts of his life that were fucked up. And in the end, away from the noise, we had some pretty raw conversations about who he was and who he always wanted me to be. And the good stuff is what will always be in the forefront of my mind, because I recognize it in our complicated testosterone-driven relationship. And let me tell you guys something. We had a really complicated, full of testosterone. If you guys know my old man, my old man was a jacked dude. And he broke a lot of ground and trailblazed in the world of professional wrestling. First black tag team champions, and he broke a lot of He broke a lot of ground, but we did. We had a complicated relationship. Complicated testosterone-driven relationship. Some of the best parts of me that I've been fortunate to share with the world, I get from him. The resilience, the work ethic, the no one's gonna give it to you, so you gotta get your ass out there and work it. Earn respect type of credo. I get that from him. And I will always carry that with me. And that's true. Let's see, and then Chris goes on to say, he writes, as Johnson tells me this, his voice often breaks. Several times he pauses. Hold on one second, it will pass. As that shit normally does pass, you just got to give it a second. And it'll pass. We both wait, and then Dwayne Johnson gathers himself and carries ever forward. Carries ever onward. I want to take a moment here to thank Chris Heath for writing this, and especially all the conversations that we were able to have about my dad. And you know, I won't give you guys the detail on it, but Chris has joined a certain club too as well, and we've talked about that and the complications of that. So I want to thank you, Chris, for this, and I want to thank Vanity Fair. I also want to thank my team for all your hard work. Ilaria as well, who styled my beautiful and amazing stylist. And I also want to thank you guys out there who have read this and all your feedback after reading this story. And again, if you want to get to know me, read Vanity Fair, and you'll get to know me. All right, now it's time for the magic. Terramana toast. This Terramana toast goes to you guys, and goes to Vanity Fair, goes to Chris Heath, and goes to all you guys out there who've lost a loved one, who have had complicated relationships, who have gotten your ass kicked, who've gotten knocked down, punched in the gut, divorced, trying to figure your shit out, trying to be good, trying to bounce back and rise from the ashes and be better today than you were yesterday, and be better tomorrow than you are today, and be kind to people, work your ass off, and take care of your family. This one's for you. To the good stuff. Cheers. Thanks again.